Amazon has told employees to return to the office 5 days a week. According to CNBC, Amazon CEO Andy Jassy is instructing corporate staffers to return to the office. Previously, Amazon required employees to be in the office at least 3 days a week. Employees have until January 2nd to start adhering to the policy. In addition, Amazon said that it also plans to simplify its corporate structure by having fewer managers in order to, quote, remove layers and flatten organizations, end quote, Jassy said. Each area within the company will be expected to increase the ratio of individual contributors to managers by at least 15% by the end of the first quarter of 2025. Chris, do you think Amazon's return to office policy will set off a chain reaction of other retailers following Amazon's lead?
Oh man, that's a really tough question. Possibly. I mean, there's so many layers to this announcement that the only thing that I'm very clear about, Ann, is who doesn't win? Company morale. Company morale does not win with this announcement in any way, shape, or form. The middle managers at Amazon, they must be quaking in their boots right now. But I think at the end of the day too, like I do step back and say, kudos to Andrew Jassy for making the tough call here. I don't think there's one right answer to this question, but it will force Amazon to do what it needs to do, which is learn how to operate leaner and more efficiently, which historically it's been good at doing. It's always a good skill to practice in the long run when you're running business. It's not always an easy call to make, so that's why I give him credit. But but for that to work, you have to provide the long-term financial reward for those who get on board with coming back to 5 days a week versus the short-term pain of doing it. Now, Amazon's traditionally been able to provide that reward, but I don't know, because the other part that I come back to in this announcement is he talks a lot about being the biggest startup in the world, right? Yeah. But I think this announcement is proof positive that your startup days are over. Like, you've officially reached day 2 with this announcement, which I mean, honestly, it's kind of hubristic to think that you are Amazon and that's never going to happen to you too. Yeah. I mean, it's just natural that's going to happen. And I think this announcement shows that that's the case. You're at that point, Amazon. So, it's a little bit concerning. Whether the retail follows suit, I don't think so. I think every CEO is going to make the decision based on what they think is right.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, Chris. I think like the whole return to office part was kind of the secondary part of this. For me, the real headline was like how they're minimizing bureaucracy.
It was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So much so that like Jassy has created a bureaucracy mailbox, and like I don't even know what to think about that, because it's like, I mean, I've never worked for Amazon, so maybe Amazon does this better than others, but like, what are the realities of like responding to those bureaucracy emails, and how much is like, I mean, you managed a ton of people, like, what is it just going to be complaints? Like, how much of those are going to be dealt with? Like,
no, you're right. I mean, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. You can't have a bureaucracy mailbox and then call yourself the biggest startup in the world. Like, it just doesn't work.
Right. It seems altruistic. But I think the key thing here, though, is, and what Jassy's putting forward, like, one, he's making a plan, and he's saying, like, we need to operate our business as efficiently as possible. We need to be better than, faster than, and more innovative than our competitors. It gets back to what I was saying with the de minimis exception and, U.S. retailers having to be like, how do we really compete? And he thinks that part of that plan includes bringing people back to office. So, I mean, we're seeing this with Walmart just did this too. We're, now Amazon. And I think, retailers and retail organizations across the country need to be making plans for how they are more efficient, how they're more innovative, and how they're better than their competitors. And I think, if I'm a retailer, if I'm working for a retailer and I'm working remote, I think it's time to start seriously thinking about, what are my plans here? What is my future like? Because I think that we're going to see more of this happen. So,
yeah, especially if you're a middle manager who, if you're in that middle manager rung, and, like, to that point, it's a good mechanism to cut your workforce in a lot of ways.
Right.